Alright, so today what I'm going to show you guys is how I go about setting up my DraftKings lineup for Major League Baseball. A few different tools that I like to use. I don't pay for anything. Everything is just out there for you. When you start to pay for stuff, I think it's more those guys who are doing the big tournaments and the multiple entry tournaments. And what I try to stick to are kind of some lower stakes, but also the single entry. I think there's a little more skill involved in picking your players when it comes to like a single entry tournament. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of the things I like to use. And the first one is going to be the roto grinders, which is just a bunch of information. So what I'll do is I usually go to Major League Baseball, then I'll click on starting lineups, and then it brings up all the games for today and what lineups have been inputted. So far there's one set of games, which is a little bit later, that's not put in there. But that game doesn't matter for what I'm doing. I'm only doing the 1 o'clock slate right now, which are 8 games. So the next thing I like to look at would be the weather, because one of the worst things that you can have happen is you select players, the game doesn't get completed, and then you don't get any points for those players. So what we want to do is we want to make sure all the weather is going to be pretty good, and if you notice anywhere there's going to be rain, I usually try to avoid those players. So the next thing I like to look at would be the over/under for runs scored, which is going to be right here. Obviously, when we select our hitters, we want someone that has good experience against the pitcher, but also there's a high run total. So really, all these games are about the same. Not too much really getting me to want to like stack one team. Maybe the Boston, with them having a 6-run chance there. Maybe the Yankees with 5 runs. Another good thing to think about is the type of ballpark that they're in. So, like Yankee Stadium, it's a home run hitting stadium. I mean, they're gonna hit home runs. Fenway, home runs. We want to stay away from like the San Francisco AT&T Park, I think it's called. It's really not a home run friendly ballpark. But there's some interesting little information out there that you can find out which stadiums give out the most home runs, which ones are the most, or aren't going to give as many home runs. And that brings me up to my next tool, which is ESPN. I think ESPN does a great job of covering the information for baseball. So I'm going to go to the baseball here. And I already kind of have my mindset on one pitcher, and that was because he has a high risk, a really good chance, I should say, of winning his game, which is a good thing because you're going to get some points for that. And that would be the Philadelphia Phillies pitcher, which is Vince Velasquez. So another thing I like to do is once ESPN has the lineup submitted, they will literally show you how the batters in the lineup do against that pitcher. So if I looked at like the Phillies, and you look at their, it'll show you their stats against that pitcher. So right now, this guy kind of stands out for me. He has 7 hits with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 7 for 26. Not bad. And I bet you he gives you some value. We'll have to look at that later. McCutcheon, another guy, batting 500 against him, looking pretty good. So the Phillies aren't too bad. But what I wanted was Velasquez, and that would be looking at his averages against him. Not too bad. So this Granderson's 0 for 8. You got Anderson 1 for 9. I mean, these guys are all batting 100. The first 4 hitters. That's not bad. You got 2 guys in here that are hitting pretty good, but it's really not a big sample size. It's only 4 at bats to 3 at bats. So they're hitting 500, 600. So I think he's a really good pitcher to take for today's slate. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock him in. That's Velasquez right there. Why isn't it working? Let's see. Maybe if I click off of it. It's not letting me. Let me refresh it. glitchy, a little glitchy. All right, so Velasquez. So the next player was that I wanted to check out on, and kind of some salary relief too, is Hernandez at second base. So if I go back here and I go to second base, now I want to find Hernandez, and one way I can do it is just by clicking right on that game. Find Philly. And Hernandez, 3,600, so that's really good. He's cheap. He's cheap. He's going to save me some cap space so that I can get a little bit more money out there on some of these other players. The next guy I want to look at too is maybe McCutchen, who is 4,200, and he's been hitting the ball pretty well. All right. So now we're going to go. There was another player I want to look up because I'm looking at right now salary relief, trying to save money so that I can stack some of these bigger hitters later. And one of them here was this James McCann. He's a catcher for the White Sox. So I go to career against them. He's hitting 375, which isn't bad. Small slate still. He's only 3 for 8. Ryu, Makata, all these guys don't have a whole lot of experience. Let's look at the Yankees and against Rodon. So again, not much experience, not much success really. Gardner's got some experience. I like Gardner. He's always a pretty consistent player. So I'm going to lock in James McCann, who's 3 for 8. Batting 375 against this guy. And the only reason why I'm taking him, I'm not taking him for his power and his big chance of going off or anything like that. Really, it's just salary relief. It's amount of money so that I can open up and spend a little bit more on other players. And if we go look at him, he's 3,000. Make sure none of these other guys down here are really interested in getting. I don't like these guys because they're playing against some good pitchers. Morton, Perez is a good one. And I can click on his name, kind of see what his batting average is. And I had 148, not good. No. James McCann, what's he hitting? 318. So significantly better. Same price, good history against the pitcher. I'm taking him. He's locked in. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. We're going to look at some of these pitchers and kind of see how they do against. I want to lock in my next pitcher so that I know how much money I have to spend on my hitters. Pitching is way more important than the hitters. One I really want to know about is Max Scherzer. He is starting today. So we're going to find that game, which is Washington and Pittsburgh. We're going to see how they hit against Scherzer, and really they're not too shabby. These guys actually have pretty good history against him, so I think I might stay away from Scherzer. See what the other pitcher, I know he's usually pretty decent. Another guy. Yeah, I'm not liking any of those pitchers, so I think I'm going to stay away from those pitchers. We're going to look at other slates, so let's see what's out there. Barrios, I like Barrios. He's a good pitcher. Zimmerman maybe for cap relief again. Corey Kluber, another good one. Junis. So let's go to that game. Let's go to the Kansas City Cleveland game, and we're gonna look. Oh, see, and this is a case of where ESPN doesn't quite have the lineups updated. They do have this one against Kluber, though. Oof. Pretty good history against Kansas City, really. Merrifield hits everybody good, though, so it's not something where I wouldn't take him. All right, let's see what else, because the Kansas City lineup wasn't quite, or the Cleveland lineup wasn't quite submitted yet, so I can't really look at that on ESPN. So the other game I want to kind of check out is going to be right here, the Tigers in Minnesota. I don't think the Tigers have a good hitting lineup. So we want to look at how Barrios fares against them. So we're going to go to Gamecast here. So Barrios and how they, see, yeah, two guys hitting 2 for 6, 1 for 3. Not a big big amount of usage here. We don't know a whole lot, but I think Barrios is the way to go. And then it looks like these guys have been clobbering Zimmerman. They have been hitting Zimmerman. So we're gonna look at possibly taking a lot of Minnesota players, hoping that they can put some runs up on them. All right, so pitcher, I'm pretty set. Barrios, second highest on there. Not bad. I mean, 9,000 each pitcher. Not breaking the bank. We still have an average of about 4,000 that we can spend on our hitters now. So now we want to start looking at our hitters. And I know one team I wanted to really look at is that Minnesota team. So we're going to look at all their hitters. They got a little pricey, aren't they? 4,400. That's kind of usual. Let's go back here. Another neat little tool is that this website now will show me also how the batter versus pitcher faces, how they do. So if I click on here, it's going to bring up this little box for me, and it will show you, how many times they faced them, how well they did against them. And then over here it shows their fantasy points that they've had against them in the past. So Chris Davis, who was in a slump, is out of it now. That's not what I wanted to click on though. I want to check this right here. I want to see how Boston hits this pitcher. Again, not a whole lot of experience out there. JD Martinez batted against him one time, hit a home run. So that's not enough info for me. Not enough information. Let's see. We still need just a little bit of salary relief. I don't like that game. I think we got to go Marwin Gonzalez. I like him. What's he do against the pitcher? One for 9. Not good. One home run off of him. Nelson Cruz looks like almost a must. He's 4 for 4 with a home run, a walk, no strikeouts, just crushing him. Nelson Cruz is 4.6K though. We don't really have a whole lot of salary for that. If I remember right, Ryan Zimmerman is a must. Just the way he was. Yeah, we're going to take Ryan Zimmerman. So we're going to go back over here to our Philly game. I'm wrong. It's Washington. And we're going to take Ryan Zimmerman. We might take a few of these guys here. Let's see. So Zimmerman's my first baseman. I like Adam Eaton. Adam Eaton is a price saver there, 3,900. He's been hitting the ball well. If I click on him, I bet you his average is almost 300, 286. So he's hitting the ball well. Wow, Rendon is hitting almost 500 on the season. He's crushing it. There's almost no reason not to take him. But let's look at our other positions real quick. So we got third base. We want to go through all games. And then I also like to click on this fantasy production number here. This shows you how well they've been producing this year. Moncada's having a good year. Yes. I just don't like how he's playing against Stroman's pretty good. Ownings. So I think we're going to stick with maybe Rondon. We'll come back to this position. Let's go to shortstop. Let's see if there's any way we can save some some value down here in the shortstop position. Galvis has been crushing the ball. He's going against a really good pitcher. Bogarts coming off a bad day yesterday. I think we might stick with some more Philly. 4,100. Segura, he's top of the lineup, so he's going to get several at-bats. Anytime they're batting like 1 or 2, you know they're going to get 1 or 2. You know, they're going to get one more at-bat than those guys usually in the 7, 8, and 9 position. So that kind of helps make your decision. So let's go next and look at the outfield position, see what we can get. We got a pretty good amount of money here we can work on. Austin Dean, Meadows has been just crushing the ball. He's batting .385 with 6 home runs, 16 RBIs. Against Stroman. Merrifield, saw him. He was on there. He was on a list of where he's been hitting that pitcher really well. You don't like seeing taking a player against Kluber. Kluber's a good pitcher. Let's see what else we got here. I think I want to stick with some Tigers, right? Some Minnesota. So let's go to Minnesota. Click on them. Polanco plays shortstop. I think we're going to go with him, if I remember right. Yep. Kepler's another guy who's been hitting the ball well. Cruz. I think we're going to take Cruz just for his home run power. We want someone that can hit one out. So that leaves us 3,700 for our third baseman. We're going to go all games. I don't like him against Kluber. I'm just not sure. Oh, wait. Did I not say I liked Marwin Gonzalez? Not hitting the ball well right now. 133. I just got a feeling about him, especially against Zimmerman. I think we're gonna stack him. We're gonna go on a fly here, just because he's playing Zimmerman away, and I think Zimmerman's due to give up some runs. We're gonna take him. So not like a stud, not a real stacked squad, but I think we have our pitching set, and I think we've got some pretty good guys here that are gonna put up some numbers due to their matchups with the pitchers. So next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and enter this into the contest. All right, so we got our lineup set. Let's see if it shows how many people are in it. It's gonna be starting in another couple hours. There's my golf, but if we go to upcoming, yeah, it's almost full. So glad I got that lineup in. I think it's gonna be a good lineup. I really do. So if you guys like the video, I'm gonna continue to do this. I'm gonna try and do lineups. I think it'll be more on the weekends than during weekdays, but for the most part, it's gonna be those classic slates that have, 6 games or so in it that you can kind of differentiate which hitters to go against which pitchers and which pitchers are best to take against certain hitters. I am going to put this video on YouTube, and I will add some of these links for where I get my information. Roto Grinders, I feel, is a really good site to check the weather. You can see the over-under on the runs scored, and then they break it down for each pitcher, which I like too. So they think Boston is going to score at least 6 runs today, which is a high number and pretty good amount. They also feel like Minnesota could score 4 or 5 runs, which I think that's more of a chance to happen. I don't think the Tigers are gonna do a great job this year. That's why I like taking the pitcher that I did and then stacking a few of these hitters also against them. So yeah, I hope you guys like the information I provided. I will put this on YouTube. I'll add tons of links so that you can find this information. DraftKings, ESPN, and Roto Grinders. Thank you for listening.